Today, I want to inspire you to take up 3D printing and painting by showing you how I painted this predator. We're going to start off by dry brushing this entire piece because there's so many textures that we want to take advantage of. So I'm just using a light gray here along with a dry brush to go over this entire piece. And what I'm doing is bringing out all the textures that I'm going to be painting on the skin tones later. Now you'll see I did the same thing for the upper and lower torso because there's a lot of texture on the skin of Predator. All these little bumps. And we want to make sure that we capture all those details when we paint. And it's really important to create contrast before we paint in a format called pre-shading by using this dry brushing technique. And we're going to do the same thing with these metallics by using this gunmetal from Diode Dry Brush, which is just a really thick dry brush paint that we can use to create a nice metallic base over top of black. And the real trick is to add in this light metal over top of the gunmetal, and what it's going to do is give us this really cool metallic look. And this is a really easy way, you can see before and after how much better it looks with that extra touch of light metal. It really brings out all the little details on the raised edges, and we're going to do this for the entirety of Predator's suit. Then moving on, we're going to start with Ionic's Graveyard Earth. This is just a nice brown tone to use as a base skin tone for him. You're going to see this is going to take a couple layers of different colors to create the contrast effect that we want. So it looks very flat to start, and the pre-shading with the dry brush is just adding a little bit of a subtle contrast with this acrylic paint being sprayed over top of it. But it's important to keep building up the layers of contrast as we move forward, because that's how we're going to make it look more realistic. We're just spraying one very light coat of this Graveyard Earth over the skin because we don't want to cover up the white and black pre-shading that we did with the dry brush, but rather we want to take advantage of it with one thin coat. You can still see some of those white bumps coming through, and that allows us to keep that texture that we worked so hard to make in the beginning. And you can see here on his upper torso we have the same effect. And we got a little overspray on the metal parts. It's not a big deal. We'll fix that later. I would never worry about overspray on metal parts. In hindsight, I probably should have painted the metal parts second, but it's not a big deal. Now we're going to use these AK Quick Gens. We're going to use dark leather as the shadow tone for our skin tone here. So we're just going to spray this right into all the crevices between his muscles, showing that muscle tone. And don't worry, we're going to tone this down later. You just have to trust the process as you're creating contrast, because you're trying to deliberately create a very vivid contrast to create definition on a smaller model, because the definition is what tricks your eye into thinking it's a real thing. And that's what we're trying to do with our models, is make them look very realistic, make them look lifelike, really. So you can see what I'm doing is just painting in all those edges around the muscles, and I also sprayed some of the leather on those belts that he has because we'll fix them up later, but it doesn't hurt to just add that color on there now. And we're going to do the same thing on his upper torso here, all those little muscle details to make sure we get all of those crevices and create those shadows that we want in the areas that we want to create shadows. I'm also spraying over his belts and whatnot because we are going to spray them with a leather color anyway. So it doesn't hurt to just spray them now while we have it out. And really any overspray will just create kind of a shadow and contrast effect around those belts. So it's not a big deal. And here we can see what that looks like. Now, I'm going to do the same thing on the head, except there's a lot of little crevices around this like crown of his head, if you will, around the edges and down the center, around the eyes and the mouth. And then we're going to do the same thing on the arms. Anywhere where there's like a fold, we're going to spray with this shadow color. Again, it's dark leather. It just looks really, really good. And it contrasts well with that earth tone we used for the base coat of his skin. The next step, I used this sand. Sticking with the earth tones, I just wanted a lighter tone. So I went with the sand, and I'm spraying in a zenithal pattern in really the opposite of what I was doing with the shadows, where I'm spraying in a reverse zenithal and spraying in the little grooves and edges. Now we're going to go over top and we're going to spray all the raised parts in a somewhat of a zenithal pattern. In this case, you can see I'm actually holding the part perpendicular to the spray, which is allowing me to just create highlighted areas like on the muscles that you see. So I'm just again trying to create some contrast and highlights, and you can see how if you spray the highlights after the shadow coat, it actually dulls down the shadow that you're seeing, and that allows you to blend the highlights with the shadow tones, and it also will blend it with your mid-tone as well. It just allows you to blend all your colors together when you do your highlight last. Now, I felt that the earth tones were a little too flat and not quite vivid enough, so I actually added just a light spray of Skeleton Horde over top of the highlight areas to kind of almost act like a filter in this case, to kind of push all the colors towards a little bit more of a yellow color and not so flat and almost like a gray brown. It livened it up with a little bit of yellow, and I was really happy with the results. Like I said, using it like a filter just to shift the hue a little bit brighter, a little bit more yellow and less gray, and I was really happy with the results in doing so. You can see here it actually added some more contrast too, which was really cool and kind of not necessarily expected. After putting a semi-gloss or a satin varnish on, it actually really came together nicely. So after I got that done, I went into detail painting now. So we have the airbrushing done, we move on to all the details, and I'm using these AK play markers. This black is so nice for doing a lot of little details, especially for long extended periods, because you're not having to deal with inconsistent paint in a wet palette. You're just constantly getting a flow of black paint out of that tip, and it's fine enough that you can see I'm painting all these nettings and hairs, which I'm really impressed, by the way, of this designer for being able to put hair on this character. It's really impressive. So now I'm trying to create the illusion of these lights being lit by I put a little bit of red fluorescent paint and then white thin lines in the middle, and it kind of makes it look like it's glowing. Next up, I'm going to use brown black to do a lot of the details, because I wanted something darker than the leather that I've already used on those leather belts. You can see I used that dark leather that I sprayed on the belts earlier. So I wanted a little bit of a contrast in colors between all the browns on his waist. So I'm using brown black here, and you can see how, again, these quick gen paints, just like any speed paint or Citadel paint you may have used before, they really take advantage of any kind of dry brushing you do ahead of time. It just creates a really great effect of contrast, because it's a translucent paint, so it doesn't actually have an opaque finish. It actually allows it to see through a little bit, and it allows that dry brushing that we did to really shine. And I think this really turned out well with those details that we painted on over top of the fabric and his belt. And also, if you take notice, there's like metallic parts of his belt. All the metal parts we treated the same way as those parts I showed you earlier, where we did the 2 layers of the metal dry brushing. Here I'm using a lighter leather over top of this little bag, again just to create some more visual contrast, so it's not all the same color of leather throughout this entire thing. Now, one other cool detail is there's all these little bones all over his waist here, so we're gonna paint all of those in like an ivory or light white color. Something like a light bone would work, just because we want to then come back over with the same Skeleton Horde color, or there is a bone brown in Quick Gen that matches Skeleton Horde exactly. I've actually tested the 2 side by side on this model, and I forgot to record the bone brown, but I actually did paint some of the skulls on the base in bone brown, and they're literally the same. So really nice alternative to Citadel if you're looking for a cheaper alternative that's just as good. I'll come back to those later. For now, let's talk about these little black dots that are all over him and his skin tones. So I'm just literally just painting little black dots all over those little bumps that were up, just using black paint in my wet palette and just going to town. And everything I did on the bottom half, I did the same on the top half of his torso. So you can see the end results are literally the same, just again more details up there. Every technique was exactly the same. And you can see here I'm just doing all those same little black dots, but I just wanted to show you because on his head there were some other colors as well. So we'll get through the black dots, and then I'm going to show you how I'm going to use some yellow to add a little bit of other color to this, to his skin tones on his head. Because I noticed this as I was looking at photos and stuff, there's actually like some other colors in there, almost like oranges and yellows on his skin tones. So I'm using this warm yellow here just in a couple spots. It might be hard to see when you're first putting it down, but again, everything you're adding is adding little details that in the end are going to add up to a beautiful finished model. So it's all about adding layers upon layers of contrast and color, and in the end you get a beautiful result. You can almost think of every single piece of your model like a miniature, in that you're painting the entire thing to look really pretty and really detailed, whatever it may be. Like, I mean, this guy's not pretty, he's pretty hideous, but the point is you're treating this like its own model, and when you're done you have all these miniature models that you've painted, and then you put them together and you have a beautiful finished piece. So here you can see I was kind of messing around with the color of his mouth because I just wasn't happy with the different shades. I ended up going with an even darker crimson red till I was done, so you'll see that in the final reveal. But I used some orange on his eyes, some ivory on his teeth and eyes, a little bit of skeleton horde to kind of make the teeth look a little bit more realistic and give him a little bit of a blend. But I just wanted to take a moment to say all the materials you see me using today are available on my website, from the Ionics to the Quick Gens and the AK Play Markers, and I even have Atom Paints available as well. You can use code STORMYT2025 at checkout for a nice discount if you want to check them on my website at relentlessstormmodels.com. So let's talk about the base. Now that we have him done, we still have the base. He needs something to stand on. So what I'm doing here is dry brushing, just like I typically do to start things. I'm either dry brushing to start or in some way, shape, or form adding contrast to start, because the more layers of contrast you add, the more realistic it's going to look and the more eye-catching it's going to look. Of course, as long as it's done in a realistic way. And I will say I was really worried about this when I first started, because I felt like I started off too bright and I then added like a really light white to it, and I was like, man, this is just getting way too white, way too light. How in the world am I going to make this look like wood? It just looks like a big sand piece. So I used this wood from AK Quick Gen and sprayed it all over this thing and tried to create some natural contrast. So just using different amounts. So like I really sprayed heavier in the crevices and I sprayed lighter on the edges, and that alone created some contrast. There was a little bit of like dirt and stone on the base on the very bottom, so I used some dirty gray to add some more contrast to the base and kind of make it look a little bit grayer. And next, there's a few skulls that were actually kind of baked into this base. There's actually a lot of little details. There's a snake chasing a mouse, there's some mushrooms and leaves, there's a frog, or no, I think the snake was chasing a frog. There's like 6 or 8 animals on this thing, and bugs and stuff. There's a praying mantis. I didn't record all those little details because it was hard to catch them because they're all over this base, but just trust me, they're there. So after I added in the dry brushing of the bones, I'm then using the same skeleton horde. I'm just spraying it on here. And again, like I said, I know on some of these skulls I actually used the bone brown from Quick Gen, and I held them up side by side to see if there was a difference, and they were literally the same finish. And here we can see some of those skulls, and we do have a scorpion, which I later painted black. Now this touch is what I really think sold the wood look, although the different levels of brown wood that I added earlier looked good, but adding this Mantis Warrior green really, I think, made the wood feel like it had like that moss coating in the jungle and it's dirty. I really think that sold it on the wood. And there you can see some of the bugs and stuff that were on the base that I went back and painted later. But same Mantis Warrior green I used for the leaves. And that's Predator. I have plenty of content coming your way, so be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on these beautiful sculptures coming soon. I know so many of you have reached out to me on Discord and told me about how my work has helped you and inspired you in creating your own sculptures. So again, I hope that you come back, as I have something to teach you with every one of these models that I paint. I'd like to take a moment to share some information about my website with you in case you're a collector or maybe you're just new to the hobby. Check out my website at relentlessstormmodels.com, where you can browse a growing library of over 600 models to choose from. You can browse by the featured designers that I support over on Patreon. I also offer DIY kits and paint for those looking to get started in the hobby. Paint supplies are discounted 25% when you purchase a DIY kit. All the paint available is hand selected by me personally, so you can trust that it'll be easy to use and lead to a successful paint job. I highly recommend trying the new Ionic paint line, which are good for both brush and airbrush application. Users have called this paint the cheat code for painters, so don't miss out. Special thank you to my patrons that support my work. If you're interested in daily vlogs, how-to videos, high-resolution photos, early access videos, discounts at my store, and free printable files, check out my Patreon and see how you can get exclusive access to all this extra content.